born and raised in Havana, Cuba. I came to the States when I was 9 years old. I think that one of the first things that I remember when it comes to feeling like I was not equal was when I was in elementary school. I remember one of my school friends asking me about my parents. And my father's white and my mother's black. And at that time, they mentioned something to that effect. I remember having to go home and looking at my parents for the first time and understanding and realizing that they are different. That just, it made me look at life a lot different.
And this is what people don't understand about racism. It's so subtle. With all the coffee, they put down glass cup, styrofoam cup to me. And my first impulse was to splash that coffee on that guy, but I just turned around and got on the elevator. So when they got back, they said, "Why'd you leave so abruptly?" I said, "You didn't see that. You didn't order coffee to go." He gave everybody a glass cup and gave me a styrofoam cup, which means that he didn't want me standing there. And that is the kind of barb that irritates you. And nobody else may see it, but as a man, as an honorably discharged veteran of the United States Air Force, I was very angry about it. I have fought every day in the system not to be denied what I wore my uniform to fight for. And I do not believe that you have a right to treat me any differently. I don't want anything special, but I will not take less than I'm entitled to.
When I was in grammar school, I had a very dear friend who was a Christian, and when I stayed out for a Jewish holiday, she looked at me in amazement when she found out I was Jewish, saying, "I never expected you to be Jewish. You seem so normal." I was very defensive, and I was a little embarrassed with this whole thing, to think that my religious beliefs and the way I've been brought up would make such a difference in her mind to the kind of a person that I was.
One kid decided to tell me that my grammar and the way I spoke and pronunciated the words was just very ignorant and non-intelligent, and that hurt a lot. And I told him, why is it the way I speak is a form of ignorance? Why do I have to be the one that speaks bad? Is it because my words slur? Is it because I have slang in my words? Why is he not the one in the wrong? Is it because everybody else does it? I asked the kid, why judge me? And why judge me in front of everybody? I just didn't know what I was doing wrong, and it hurt a lot.
I was 32 when I came out. I started to tell more people, and eventually the word just got out. And the scary part for me was I worked for the City of St. Petersburg Recreation Department. So at that point, the law would have allowed them to fire me. So when people say, well, that's not a big deal, well, it is a big deal, especially when you could just be fired and they could just say, you're gay, so we don't want you. And just having to face that, if you're straight, you don't even have to think about it. You don't even have to think, well, somebody might fire me because they saw a picture with my wife, or they found out that I have a wife, they're going to fire me. But I certainly had to think about that. And also, it's very offensive, some of the things that people say. To imply that I'm not good enough to be around kids for some reason is very, very offensive. I honestly believe that if I had come out in high school, I would have had to fight every single day. It would have been a very rough existence. I think it's good for people to realize that their words and their actions have effects. I would like for people to feel a little bit more compassionate towards other people, and certainly towards children, young children and teenagers that are going through what I went through. I hope that they will grow up in a world that's a lot more accepting.
Pretty much when I was born, I had a stroke, and it affected the right side of my body, arm and leg. And as a result of that stroke, it left me with a mild case of cerebral palsy. Things that are difficult for me now are definitely even basic things like buttoning your shirts, even your shorts, and then also trying to put my hair in a ponytail. And during elementary school, they would call me retarded and dumb. They would imitate the way I kept my right arm close to my body. They would do this. And actually the teasing got to the point where I started crying and didn't want to go to school anymore. I think it was not as like a physical scar like you get from surgery, but as like an emotional scar where I'm never going to forget what happened. As a result of that incident, I've come out stronger. I'm more than a girl with a disability. That's just me.
I was born in Germany and grew up during World War II. My father was in the German army. My mother, my siblings and I, we lived in Schlesien in Harburschwerd. Our town was real close to the Polish border. So this one afternoon, my mom needed to go somewhere and she wanted me to go with her. And I insisted on staying home. So she finally gave in and let me stay home, but told me you do not open the front door. So shortly after she was gone, there was this really loud bang on the door. And sure enough, I went out in the hallway trying to open the door, and the door just would not open. Then I looked up, and over the front door, there was a window, and all I saw was 2 German military hats. And I panicked, and I probably cried. My mom comes home, and I told her about it, and she went real fast upstairs where the bedroom was. So after a while, she comes back down with that young couple I had never seen before. And the woman was pregnant, and so we all sat down on the table. And so she explained to me that the reason that people were in the house, that he was Jewish. She was not. But anyway, she said, you don't talk about that, and they're just going to be here for a short while. They must have been terrified. Really, they must have been. And what happened to them, I don't know. I never asked my mother again. And I wish I had when I became an adult to know who those people were.
First, they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out.
Because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out.
Because I was not a trade unionist.
Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out.
Because I was not a Jew.
Then they came for me.
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 And there was no one left to speak for me.